When the referendum in 1967 was passed, one of its goals was to include Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in the national census. Every 5 years, the census gives government the best information to plan the services that the community needs, like health, education, housing, and transport. The next census is on Tuesday, August the 10th. It's important that we are ready and all get counted because it will help tell our story. If you live in a remote community, there will be census staff in your community to help in July and August.
As a Census Engagement Manager, you're the tip of the spear ahead of the 2021 census. So it's our role to go out and engage and create awareness of this year's census with remote communities. So my jurisdiction extends all the way up to the Gulf of Carpentaria and down into the NT ATSI border. We go ahead of our remote area management teams who will be actually conducting the census. I've worked in remote communities for an extended number of years and I've seen myself the level of overcrowding and some of the social issues that they face. If we can get the proper stories for communities, then we can paint the real picture as to what life is like in remote communities.
I manage a team of Aboriginal Census Engagement Managers across the top end of the Northern Territory, and also a small team of local engagement officers for the Darwin and Katherine urban area. The census is a national count right across Australia of every single person and home. It's really important that everyone tells their story and ensures that every single person in their house is counted, from elders, babies, and most importantly, visitors, so they can receive the services in their community, such as housing, health, roads, infrastructure, and community programs. The biggest result that I've seen is Purple House in Central Australia, which helps people who have got kidney disease, and that's actually starting to venture into the top end of the Northern Territory, which I see as a key medical service.
In some of the communities that I've visited, and this go around that I visited years ago, there's been an improvement in housing. Previously, as I visited those communities, maybe 2-3 years ago, there wasn't that housing increase. But as I go back to these communities through this census, you see 3, 4, 5, 6 new houses being built in that community. And the hope is that census has played a part in that, in telling that proper story and showing those right numbers.
I've always had a passion about census and the ABS and the information that they gather and why they gather it and how we can use that to make our communities and our lives better. There's lots of benefits, but in a nutshell, it's about, obviously your services. So you've got people sitting in communities talking about their communities and how they want to grow, but how are they going to grow without the census? So it's about complementing what they're doing. And so we go in there and talk about, okay, well, if you want to do this, you need new health centre or new classrooms, then we need to know how many people are here. So it all complements what you're doing. So we need you to take ownership on this and then build your community and tell your story.
One of the main barriers is language and understanding what it's all about, and also they've got a fear of their information being safe.
There's concerns that maybe the numbers don't count. What do they mean? That's sort of what's coming from people in community.
Some of the main misconceptions is what happens to this information, who gets this information and what's it used for. It's your story. It's about you being counted and included. We can't share this information with any other departments.
It's about engaging with service providers to give them the key messages and why we're out there and why the census is important, but more importantly, engaging with local people so they can understand why the census is important to them and their community.
So I guess my message to communities about the census, to help your community grow, we need to know the right stats. We need to know who's here, and that's the only way we're going to be able to grow your community.
There's 3 pathways to completing the census. The first is once you get your code, you can apply online. The second way is we will actually send an ABS census collector to your door and sit with you. Or the third is you complete and return to a forwarding address.
Tell your story about your household to help your community and make it count.